I'm Rachel Kelly, and this is a special podcast brought to you by the National. We are live at the IUCN World Conservation Congress, which is the largest gathering of biodiversity experts, scientists, and more globally. I'm joined today by Dr. Sheikh Salim Al-Dhaheri, who is the Secretary General of the Environment Agency Abu Dhabi. Dr. Sheikh, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Most welcome, Rachel.
So we're hosting this Congress at quite a critical time, looking at the natural world globally. A number of reports have been published. But before we get into that, I want to find out from you your thoughts on the significance of hosting the IUCN World Conservation Congress, the biggest biodiversity congress in the world here in Abu Dhabi.
Absolutely. You know, it's hosting the IUCN goes very well with the legacy that UAE have, and the legacy of over 50 years of global conservation, where we sit at the heart of that platform. Why do we sit in the heart of the global conservation? One, because it's rooted from the vision of late Sheikh Zayed, who spearheaded every environmental action that we do and continue to do today. The other reason, because we believe that UAE have been a great convener, a great hoster when it comes to conversation around climate change and conservation and nature. And it comes at a time where all of us believe that we need to unite for the globe. And there is a lot of people around us that know how to do it, but probably they need an inspiration and they need somebody to give them that hope and push. And this is why we are really glad and honored that it's happening in UAE because we can showcase many of those efforts that started more than 50 years ago.
And speaking of those efforts, I think one of the most standout things for me over the last few days, just speaking to people attending the Congress, the international delegates that are here in Abu Dhabi, is, how they've been wowed and amazed by the biodiversity. A lot of them have been out to visit the mangroves, have been out to go to, Wadi Waraya. There's been a few trips, and they've been quite astounded and blown away by the beautiful diversity we have of the natural world here in the UAE. And you mentioned some of the projects that you've been working on. Perhaps you can share more examples with us. I know, for example, during the opening ceremony, you spoke about the oryx.
Yes, absolutely. Look, if I start, I will not stop. As I said it before, and I will continue to say it because we have lots of exciting initiatives that have an impact, a real measurable impact, because it's so different between having an initiatives that is announced, but also initiatives that are implemented on the ground and have real results and impact that can be measured. The Environment Agency have spearheaded many initiatives, but again, it was rooted from the vision of late Sheikh Zayed. And to begin with, and before even talking about the science, talking about the blue carbon, late Sheikh Zayed has started that initiative because he believed in the importance of that ecosystem. So he initiated the restoration program in late 1970s to restore the mangroves forest, and we came to continue that legacy. Since the last few years, we have managed to plant over 51 million mangroves. And with the beauty of planting that ecosystem or that tree was also how we can deploy and adopt technology to fast track these efforts. So we are proud that UAE globally have led this innovation of using drones and restoration programs, and it was selected as one of the 12 ambitious global initiatives or technologies to tackle marine challenges at a global scale by the World Economic Forum 2 years ago. On land, we deal also with great species. And again, it's not us, it's our foundation. It began with the focus on breeding like Arabian oryx, scimitar horned oryx, were at the time are at the brink of extinction. And today we can say we have been able to reverse the red to green. The Arabian oryx here in UAE is almost around 8,000 to 9,000 heads. In Abu Dhabi alone, more than 6,000 heads. But we did not see that we have a role within Abu Dhabi and UAE borders. We tried to expand that efforts beyond UAE, and this is why we took a decision to take back the scimitar horned oryx to Chad at a time where everyone knew that the African oryx have extinct in the wild for the last 30 years. That was a bold decision, but wasn't possible because it was only UAE. The beauty of that project was because of the partnership. We knew what we wanted to do, but I think we needed more people with us. And therefore, we called for international institutions and we called for the government of Chad to be on board in 2014. And since then, we have today more than 600 heads of African oryx roaming freely, living happily, but also they reached almost the 4th generation of adaptation.
That's wonderful. And, taking on and looking at that international role, I want to hear from you, because not only are you the Secretary General of the Environment Agency Abu Dhabi, but you're also wearing another hat, and that is as an IUCN Councillor for West Asia. Can you talk to us more about that role and how that combines your role here in Abu Dhabi on an international scale?
Yes, I have been appointed as a councillor in IUCN in 2016, and I'm at the end of my second term, so I served in the union for the last 9 years almost. My role came from the belief that our region was not well represented and wasn't well represented from the efforts that has been done here and we are doing already and plan to do. And I decided to be on the board of IUCN to represent this region, to talk about more of the efforts that has been done and the experience that we hold, because we have a great network of expertise, scientists. Also, we have a great people from the private sector and government who are really working so hard to push the agenda of conservation and protection of nature. As IUCN Councillor, and I was able to link UAE with the union through promoting the data sharing, the science sharing. We cannot really accept that the data and science stay within one level. It has to be shared, enable for people to take those data and successful stories as a guiding principle, as a blueprint or a white paper for them to take forward in their domain, in their countries, and so on.
Can you share with us some more thoughts in terms of the role that AI plays in biodiversity conservation and some of the technology that you have here in the UAE that you think is applicable to beyond our borders?
So yesterday we launched the initiative of Nature X Abu Dhabi. And we cannot do the X factoring of nature conservation without the use of AI and technology. So we will use the technology to really fast track and double the work in less time.
Is that connected with the seagrass and the mangrove conservation, or how does that work?
Yes, so the model, again, if I start with the model that we work with here in the Environment Agency, we focus on what we call an integrated ecosystem model.
Okay.
So although we speak about our efforts when it comes to species conservation, but the overarching model is that we focus on the ecosystem to bring back all these species that depend on that ecosystem. So We dreamt to have a marine vessel a few years ago to excel in our work and advance also the conservation efforts. I'm glad to say we have the most advanced marine vessel in the region here in Abu Dhabi, serving the climate agenda in the Arabian Gulf, but also beyond the Arabian Gulf. And the reason is that we believe that this region can really predict what can happen with any increase in nature. J1 have 6 labs that focuses also mainly on eDNA, because we believe also that the marine domain is understudied. So with the eDNA on board of J1 is something unique, because usually scientists collect their samples and they take it abroad the vessel itself and send it to a lab. But today, my scientists are able to do everything on board of this marine vessel, from genomics, from water sampling, from air quality, data collection. It's a whole system that empower their research agenda, but also it empowered them to build a more resilient marine ecosystem in the coming years.
That's wonderful. And so moving on from technology, because there are multi-elements at play, obviously, when it comes to conservation, and one is also the community. Can you talk to us about how the EAD engages the community and perhaps some of the community conservation conversations you've had here at IUCN as well?
The community conservation for us sits also as in the heart of what we do. And that also, I believe, from the success that we have reached so far when we are working to deploy AI or in a focus program to do with the conservation of species and so on. I cannot stress more than that the partnership between government, between civil society, between scientists, youth, and also experts in different domain can really bring more than anyone could work as an isolation or a standalone.
And that's an important point to make for those listening in that feel inspired by the conversation that we're having with you today and want to get involved. And from there, the last question for you, and that is, we're here at the IUCN World Conservation Congress. Yes. What lasting legacy are you hoping for from this event?
A lasting legacy for me, I would say it's many. A lasting legacy for each delegate. Today and throughout the last few days, we have more than 10,200 delegates. And there is some who are logging virtually. I want every one of them to leave with the idea that actually this region, and specifically UAE, have done a lot, not because of the resources, because of the commitment, because of the partnership model that we have between, again, different sectors. I want them to leave with the hope that if they can do it, many of us can do it. And to take the examples from UAE into different worlds as a success story. I want them to leave with the belief that we are here as much as the theme of this Congress, and leave with that theme that we need to unite for nature, because there is no other planet for us. And if we give nature more, nature would give us even further.
So Dr. Sheikh, thank you again for taking the time to speak with us today.
You are most welcome, Rachel.
And thank you as well for joining us for this special episode and podcast from the National. I'm Rachel Kelly, and we are broadcasting to you from the IUCN World Conservation Congress taking place in Abu Dhabi. And you can go and check out more of the National podcasts on the National News website.